welcome. Thanks everybody for coming today to the Strength of Community Chat. Real briefly, make some quick introductions, and we will be speaking with three Front Porch residents. Today we have Maggie, who's a resident from Sunnyview, which is up in Cupertino in the Bay Area. We have Martha, who is from the San Diego area, Casa de Manana in La Jolla. And we have Iris, who is from the Los Angeles area from South Bay Retirement. And so we welcome each of them, and you'll be hearing from them shortly. Also, I'd like to welcome my co-host, Carmen Mitchell, who's on the Front Porch Communications team, and you'll hear from her a bit more in a moment. I'm Julie Weaverling with Front Porch Gallery, and super excited to be here today to talk about Women's Woven Voices. Women's Woven Voices, it's a global women's empowerment project, and it's based on three sort of pillars of writing, weaving, and sharing. So the writing is, there are writing prompts to prompt us to think about different aspects of our lives. And then those answers to those things are then become part of the weaving. So we weave a long, narrow story cloth that then becomes part of a larger tapestry. And the idea is that we're thinking about the lives of women globally, the struggles, the things that women around the world go through, as well as the things that we as individual women go through. I will say most of the participants in this project have been women, although there also have been a few men. We had, even in our part of the project, a few people that invited their grandsons to be involved. And so that was really awesome. We also had one man at Sunnyview who didn't want to do a weaving, but he rolled a lot of yarn balls for their group. The founder of this project is Brisha Kralovic Logan. She's an artist out of Santa Barbara, and I met her a little over a year ago. And when she just said the words Women's Woven Voices, I had already decided I wanted to do a collaborative weaving project with Front Porch residents for 2021. And so when I heard that, I was like, oh, wow, ears perk up. Can we talk? And we did. And we decided to partner up. Brisha's overall goal was to be able to have 1,000 story cloths, creating a beautiful tapestry. She had about 250 at the time. She started the project in 2018. Initially, I told her, I think we can get 100 of these story cloths. She told me months and months later that when I told her that, she said, she thought to herself, oh, she's just adorable. Like, there's no way that I was going to ever be able to get 100 of these. And then the next time I talked to her, it was 200. And then it was, by the time we did our kickoff at our International Women's Day 2 Zoom kickoffs, our goal was 300. And I can tell you now that we are over 800. And it's just phenomenal. So our project, which encompasses weavings from residents, staff, family, friends, community, artists worldwide. Our project, just our portion of it, we come from about 8 different states and 5 different countries. And we are now going to be a part of this larger tapestry forever. So, hey, anybody who's here that made a story cloth, raise your hand. Yeah. So super, super thrilling to be a part of this. We had hundreds of residents participate, and that is just like, you never know what's going to happen with some things that you work on. And this has just been so gratifying and wonderful. We started this with an artist speaker series last October or November, and that started getting people interested. And then we started a pilot project with 17 residents in January, and we ran that for a number of months. Every week we would meet, and some people in the pilot group did one weaving but kept coming back every week for the community and for the conversations and for the storytelling. And it was just really a wonderful experience. So with that, I am going to now send you over to Carmen Mitchell, who will tell you a little bit about a project that she worked on that goes along with this. Hi, Carmen.
Hi. So wonderful to be here and to meet all of the many weavers that have joined the call today. I was so inspired by this story when Julie told me about what she was up to and about the project. The first question I had is, I said, I want to hear one of these stories. I want to film it. I want to record one of these women. And it could have been almost anybody. I mean, as you see, when you look at the video of all of these weavings, every single story cloth is a different story. They're all unique, and yet they're all a part of something that's together. And I thought that idea was really fascinating. And Julie told me, she said, okay, well, Carmen, you're going to have to do one too yourself, And I said, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And then I kind of, time went on, and I hadn't really done my weaving, and the deadline was approaching, and she's like, Carmen, you're gonna do the weaving, right? Like, you can't do this video without doing the weaving. So finally, at the final hour, I did my weaving, and that was the moment where I really understood what this project was all about. I have to say, I don't think I really got it until then, that the weaving and the story and how they were connected. But I found that as I was weaving, I started thinking about my own life story, and that the weaving was sort of directing how I wanted to tell my story. And so with that, I decided to interview Maggie from Sunnyview, and she told me a wonderful story all about her sister, and her weaving was inspired by her sister. And if you watch this video, you'll notice at different parts that Maggie is, as she's telling her story, you'll see her hands kind of weaving back and forth. So keep an eye out for that.
We both had pigtails, and my mother would line us up, and then she would start braiding our hair. I would button the back of my little sister's dress, and Betty would button the back of my dress. When we were finished and my mother was done with our hair, well, then we go run around the table. My weaving story was about my sister, and she and I were about 11 months apart, did everything together. However, she being the oldest, she got all the smarts. She got the creative ability, and I got the ability to copy everything she did. And my weaving kind of shows that Betty was ahead of me, and she was doing so many different things and creating so much. And so I made all the different colors of her ability. And then I did one plain color afterwards. It's just me following up after her. She could do everything and anything. She designed my daughter's wedding gown, and she could paint, and she painted mirrors in the school. And she was just able to accomplish so much because she saw it in her mind, and she could create. We were separated because I moved to California. I was a single parent for 8 years with my 2 boys, and we moved a lot. As I was weaving and changing colors, this is when we lived on Alma Street. This is when we lived on Meadowfield. This is when we went to Phoenix. This is when we lived in Washington State. And that was quite a journey. That was quite a journey also. I was told to come visit in Iowa because she had a brain tumor and the quality of life was going to diminish. And so I spent the last 3 months of her life with her. It was so special and so sweet. My favorite memory of my sister is how much we loved each other and how much alike we were. and we were the best friends through our entire life.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, at that, I'm going to switch this back here. And we are going to now bring Maggie in. Maggie, I'm going to throw the spotlight on you.
Oh my goodness.
Hi, my friend. That is such a beautiful, I've seen it several times, and every time it's just so moving. And I know the story of your wonderful story of your beautiful sister Betty and you and your relationship is so great and such a big part of your life story. Um, I know that you've talked about how important your family is to you, and I know you were just so happy that you were able to recently just have your brother and sister-in-law visit after all of the COVID time. So I'm happy for that for you. I think it would be really great. Would love to hear a little bit of your story about being a single mother and what that was like, and if you have any sort of particular thoughts on that and memories.
I think that I have learned a lot from my boys in the later years of how our life was. And it was a struggle. It was a very, very difficult time, but I always we had a good time. We had no family out here. My former in-laws were here, but we managed, and through the help of the Lord and through my faith and all the blessings that we did receive, we were thankful for. We have a very, very good relationship. My boys, my younger son is going to arrive tomorrow, I guess Saturday, and for a week, and I haven't seen him for 2 years. And so we have a very close relationship, and I'm so thankful of that. And I tried to be both parents to them. So it was a fun time. And as I went into this weaving and knitting now, I just really have always said that I never wanted to be a teacher. But I guess
Yeah, as we know, so that was what my next thing I wanted to ask you about is the way that you took on this project with a couple of your cohorts at your community, but the way that you took it on from the very beginning with the pilot group. And then tell us a little bit about how your project went and what you guys did.
Well, we met every Saturday, and we kind of came into what our staff activity person was doing on Saturday, and she was just so happy to have us. We had about 18 that were weaving, and it was some days it was full, some days we were very, very busy weaving, and there's not much conversation. But one of our residents here who didn't weave, she started, but I asked her to come down and join us. And I said, come down for the social. And so she sat there and nobody was talking. Everybody was working. She said, just where is the social? So, we were very busy, but it was just so wonderful. Every once in a while, somebody would stop and start talking and keep it going. And it was just a marvelous. And then once we were finished, I think, what was it, mid-September, we stopped. We just wanted to stay together. And so now what we developed was every Saturday, knitting and crochet class. And we just gave 20 scarves and shoulder wraps to our summer house, to our memory care. And now we have 35 that we're going to give to the care center. So the beginning of this weaving, it just has kept us going. They've done things that they've never done before, like the weaving.
It
And
really connected you all, didn't it?
yes, and they really would like to have another project with weaving. They
I
want to,
know, I'm thinking.
but it did develop into renewing a skill that they had with knitting and crocheting. And so we're coming to the end of our project here, and we're working with the staff to continue with some project.
And I know just being together, doing the weaving, whether you're sitting and telling stories or not, you're like all weaving yourselves into those pieces. And I know that it's, I'm so appreciative of everything that you and Joy and Jackie did to help the others who didn't even think that they could do the weavings, but that you did. And that Maggie, that you also, thank you for helping some residents, a good number of residents at Sunnyview West, who for the most part aren't even English speakers, and you were able to help them, and that you were so gracious to do that. So, you know, you're an amazing teacher, as it turns out. Who knew?
Well, my sons have told me I've been teaching them all of their lives, so I guess I've been doing it. But
Yes, you
but
have.
also we did have Mr. Lee. We did.
Yes.
He every time I got a new skein of yarn or did several, I put it in his slot, and he'd take it, he rolled into balls, and then we shared all of that. And so he was very important in getting us going.
Super important. And I know that this was even used as team building for some of the staff there, and you had nurses that got involved. And I mean, you guys were just rock stars. It's just really amazing, and really attribute that to you and a couple of your fellow
Well,
residents.
but this is a very caring and close community. It's just it's just that's what it is.
Awesome. And that's exciting. So wonderful. Do you have any parting thoughts on any of this before we move on?
Yeah, Julie, thank you for getting us going.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can continue with this, we'll welcome it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you so much for all you did for us.
Oh, you're so welcome. You are so welcome. All right, that I'm going to send it back over to Carmen to introduce our next guest.
Martha, you had a really interesting story cloth. You chose very specific colors and definitely had a theme to yours. Can you tell us the story of your story cloth?
My story actually begins today because of all of the despair over democracy. And at the time, I just, all I could think of was how much my family were involved and really loved this country so very, very much. I was born in a military hospital by mistake, by the way. My mother was living on base and decided to go into labor and was born into a men's military hospital. I know. And my dad always wanted to stay in the military. And my mother said, no, you must get out and make a living for us. So he did. But along came World War II. And the first thing I knew is, well, back to the military. He became a director of admission into the military in Pittsburgh and ran their intake unit, and then was all over the country. And this is a picture of my father, who is a physician. And to his right, to my father's right, is my brother, who also was in the military and absolutely loved it. My father ended up, which is somewhat unusual for a physician, as what we call a bird colonel. And my brother, I think, made as far as being a captain or perhaps a major, But my brother loved the military, and when he came out, one of the things that he had done so much that he loved was to run hospitals, and he ran hospitals in Korea, and he became a hospital administrator here. So for me, the strength of the military and the military family has been so important to me. And that was why I did red, white, and blue. And hopefully it will make me feel better and more comfortable with all of our issues over democracy and problems that we have. And I also have to add that my father was so excited about physicians and hospital administration that he sent me to medical school. And I was the only person, well, I was the first person to be admitted to the University of Pittsburgh as a married woman. And I also had a 2-year-old. So I still loved the military, however. And if I could have, I would have joined up immediately. So that's sort of my story. But I have to tell you, Julie, one of the things today is I hadn't appreciated the community that the weaving did until I saw all of us pulled together. And all I can do is thank you for that.
No, of course.
Thank you, Martha. You told a story that was really interesting in our rehearsal, I remember, about kind of, I know that the weaving is about, partly your love of country, but also your love of your family and the values imparted by your family. And you talked about that sort of in relationship to your grandson. Do you want to tell us that story?
Yes. I had a very beautiful granddaughter. Her name was Alexandra. She was always doing things and fracturing her arms, jumping off of high areas. And one day she explained to us that she really wanted to be a boy. And so she did. And she is now Alexander. She went to Smith as a gal and ended up at the end of Smith. And there's my grandson, Alex. And that's me, by the way. And he is so happy. He has done extremely well. He finished his master's at Columbia and is employed in Manhattan and is now married to a lovely gal. Her name is Julie. And I have grand kittens. I have 2 grand kittens. They are so cute.
Oh, that's beautiful. You said something I remember also about how your family used to have ministers from all over the world come and stay with you, and how that kind of taught you about kind of appreciating diversity in many ways.
Yes, it's true. And it was really thrilling. We had a 3rd floor in our house in the old style, which had 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. And so the families would come and stay with us, whether they were Korean or Chinese or from Africa, various and sundry parts. And another semi-sad but interesting story is it was a very small town that I was raised in, and they did not always have the feelings that my father had. And he felt very strongly about taking care of people of many colors and many countries. And so we ran a barber shop in our basement because the barber shops in town would not take care of ministers or the people who came and stayed with us.
And Martha, I just want to add that you were also one of the wonderful participants and main people who worked on the collaborative quilt for Casa de Mañana last year. And thank you for being involved in everything. And thank you so much. And, obviously there's more to come, right?
Thank you, and enjoy your project so much. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Martha. All right. And Julie, I'm going to hand the baton back to you to interview our final participant, Iris.
So I'm so happy you're here. Hi, welcome.
Hi. How y'all doing?
We are doing well. How about you?
Fine.
Good, good, good. Well, I wanted to talk to you today a bit about some of your story. I know that you you've been living in the Los Angeles area your whole life, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know one of the things that was one of the writing prompts was about what do you consider to be your greatest accomplishments? And I know that you talked about a couple things. One was about your work with teenage girls in a group home, and one was about your mother. So I wonder if you might tell us a little bit about those stories.
Well, the group home was teenage girls, which I enjoyed doing very much. I loved it. Um, the girls sometime was kind of bad, but it was okay. I can handle it. Um, and I enjoy my family, like everybody said. We enjoy our family. Everybody enjoy their family. Everybody love and enjoy their family. Um, and my father was a minister. My mom was a stay-home mom. She never worked. And I had it was 9 of us, brothers and sisters. It's only 3 of us left now. Everybody else has passed away. Let me see what else. I have 4 kids, 17 grand, about 10 great.
Wow.
Yeah, two of my boys passed. I had 2 boys, 2 girls. My 2 boys have passed away. And Adrian is the one that brought the weaving to here at
Oh,
the
right, to your community.
yeah, and I loved it, but it's a lot of them here that don't really like to participate into things.
Ah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I like it. I enjoy it. I do a lot of weaving.
Did you show any of your other fellow residents any of the weavings that you've made?
Just the ones, yeah, just the ones that came to the class.
Okay.
And I showed Adrian and
Sometimes people have to take a little time to get used to doing things that are, projects like this.
I have a few right here.
Oh, so
Like,
you have been continuing to weave. I love it.
I'm still weaving, yeah, this one right here. And I just did this one. Let me see, where is it? I just did this one last night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I got a lot of them that I did.
That's awesome,
I
Maurice.
love it, yeah.
So when you were working in the group home, can you tell us a little bit more about that? I think you were a supervisor, right?
Yes.
What was that? What was that whole experience like?
So I was a supervisor. I had to do, and I did the cooking too.
Oh, wow.
I did the grocery shopping. What else did I do? I did a lot of things in the group home.
The girls there, was the idea that they were there temporarily and then they would move back to their homes?
They were there temporarily until they what you call graduated, did the class, and their parents would come and get them. But the majority of them, their parents never did come get them.
Hmm.
Most of them, the girls that I had, most of them kind of like grew up and left on their own.
Mm-hmm.
But their parents really never did come get them, no.
Yeah. So they were kind of in hard times and
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you were helping them, even though it sounds like they were sometimes acting up and
Yeah,
they were needing some help from you.
They needed the help from me, yes.
Yeah.
And I knew this. That's why when they acted up, I just kind of like put it aside, ignore them, but it kind of helped them out a little bit. But it was okay.
Yeah. So also, can you tell us a little bit about, I know you said some of your most favorite experiences have been singing in your church choir.
Oh yeah, I used to sing in the choir, and we went out of town, went to a lot of different places, Texas, Louisiana, Detroit. That was the first time I saw snow. I saw snow, yeah. Um, and we would stay like 2 and 3 and 4 days. One time we stayed 2 weeks because we went to one place, then to another place. So we stayed 2 weeks out of town. But it was fun. It was fun.
Did you
I
guys,
enjoyed-
did you like travel by bus?
By bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, by bus.
And you went to other churches?
Went to other churches, yeah.
Excellent.
Went to the hotel and stayed, got dressed at the hotel. And then at 7 o'clock service, we went to the church. And we sang, and my minister preached, his sermon. And it was fun. It was fun.
And then you had a chance to get to meet the people in all these different areas.
Oh yeah, yeah. You would think that the places would look a little different, and everybody looked the same, and places almost looked the same.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
What you just said, that says it all. That's what this whole tapestry is about. We are
Mhm.
all unique individuals, and yet we are all the same.
All the
You're
same.
just all part of one big human family, right?
You're right.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask you is, I know you with your writing, you were answering some of the writing prompts. And the one was, about your mom and taking care of her, and the basically the difficulty of loss. So do you want to just say a little bit about that?
Yeah, I took care of my mom about 2 years before she passed away. Um, just me. I did it. Yeah, my brothers and sisters. Well, actually, I lived in the home with her, so that's the reason I was there taking care. But the other ones, my other brothers and sisters, they didn't really help. But it was okay. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't no problem to me. I love doing it, just like I love taking care of the girls I was in taking care of, and I love taking care of my mom.
I'm
And
curious, where were you in the 9 children? Where were you in the order of that large group?
third one.
Oh, you're the third one.
I'm
Okay,
the
so
third
you're
one.
you're kind of in that oldest group, so you're kind of used to taking care of others.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I had a sister sung in the choir with me. She was younger than me, but she led songs. She had a beautiful voice. She passed away a long time ago, years ago. Yeah. So I kind of miss her. Really, I miss all my family.
Yeah.
One of my brothers, my youngest brother, earlier he passed away, but he got shot. Out there in the street with those gangs, and he got shot. He passed away. I had another brother in a bad car accident. But God is still good all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Loss is hard, but we carry on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that, why do you think that you enjoyed this weaving process so much? What is it about it that you really like?
Weaving, um, like I said before, I'm here by myself. I get lonesome. I have nothing to do, nobody to talk to. So I get out the weaving, and it takes my mind off of being by myself. And I talk to the weaving. Move over here, get here, go stand right here. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that look good. So the weaving makes me talk to it. I don't know how that sound, but
No, I think that sounds, understandable. I think
yeah,
it sounds understandable.
yeah.
I know my colleague Mike Martinez has just posed the question, which we'll ask you first, and then maybe we can ask others. Did you find The instructions and the kit, was that fairly easy to get going for you? Was it problematic, or what do you think about that?
No, you remember you did a class with us and you kind of like showed us how to do it. No, it was easy. It was easy for me.
Good,
Yeah.
good. I think that a lot of people found the process to be sort of meditative, addicting, quieting. So I'm glad that it's been there for you, as you feel alone. And you're not alone, and now you're part of this big, huge tapestry.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm glad that you can now continue with the weaving. And we're so appreciative of you sharing some of your life and some
Yeah.
of your stories with us. So currently, Mike, I think you had you were asking where are the story cloths now? They're all with me, except for the ones that people have continued to make. We actually had a lot of residents who made them for the tapestry and then decided that they liked them so much they weren't going to turn them in. So that's okay too. But anyway, the tapestry is here at the gallery until January 15th. And then my plan is to travel it to the participating communities and let everyone have a chance to see. Honestly, when people come in, I can be sitting back in my office and I'll just hear, oh, wow. When someone takes that initial look inside and they see, it was a tremendous amount of work on Brisha's part as well as everybody else's. She sewed all of these individual story cloths together into 4-foot panels. And it's funny because on the one hand, it looks like a simple thing, but it was actually a really difficult installation, but so fun. So I wonder if we have any other, I can see we've lost, hey, Susie, do you want to say anything about your weaving experience?
Well, it was fun, and I didn't have any clear idea of why I was weaving it. I just enjoyed creating, and it was a challenge to make it just what I wanted it to turn out to be.
You did write a few nice notes though about about a weaving. You wrote a really nice note, which I don't have handy with me, but let me just see if I can find it real quick. Oh, well, I think you actually sent me a couple things. Here's a, I'll just hold this up so people can see. Here's a card that Susie sent. And by the way, Susie was really also instrumental in the Wesley Palms collaborative quilt.
Yeah.
So she just says, this weaving might be from my wild and woolly days. So I'm do you have a story about those wild and woolly days, Susie?
And not a bit. My lips are sealed.
Oh, darn it. How can I bribe you, my friend? That's it, huh? You're not going to give me any more?
No. Well, all of your different ideas that you've given us to do have been just so good and so interesting. And what did we do? What was that other thing we made? And
well, let's see.
We made the quilt for
made the quilt
for Wesley Palms.
Right. And I'll be bringing that back soon. You made the Milagros.
Yeah.
And the doves.
That's right.
And a few other things. But thank you. I'm so glad that you're here today.
It's been interesting. Wonderful to see all of those.
Yeah, oh my gosh, you're gonna just be so thrilled. I'm cooking up the next ideas, so stay tuned.
Okay.
Do we have any Front Porch colleagues who made a story cloth that might like to tell a little bit about their experience? Mary, you're leaning forward. Does that mean I should spotlight you? Because I'll do it.
Sure.
There you go.
Well, I will say it's so relaxing, and it was really wonderful to spend time with residents uh, as you explored the prompts that you had prepared. It was fun getting to know residents in a new light and just to have that moment in time. But I found it very relaxing and very therapeutic, and I got to just focus on the women in my life. That's what my story cloth was about. And it just
Yes.
had all my favorite colors on it. And I created a pom-pom out of the extra yarns to represent each of the women that I know in my family.
And those are the best looking pom-poms I have ever seen. I mean, they were wonderful. And I
Well, thank you.
remember when you would come to the pilot group meetings and you'd be crafting this little pom-pom, and I'm thinking, wow, she is really taking her time with that.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize is until you sent the story cloth and the story was how many pom-poms there were, and how it does represent the women in your life. And your story's up on the wall.
Well, thank you.
It's one of the ones up on the wall, and fantastic. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Well, thank you. It's also fun because like Maggie said, it is something that a lot of us have put down and not done, played with yarn. You know, a lot of the things that we talked about were things that we would do with our sisters, our mothers, our grandmothers, and how that was just memories at this point. So to be able to rekindle that was really special.
Yeah, and that's one of the things actually that weaving really is kind of almost an ancient kind of idea. And so, and of course, that would have mostly been done by women through time, but not only women, and not only women did this, but this is about women. So,
Looks like we have a few other questions in the chat.
all right, throw it out there.
So I think, does Maggie have a question?
I just wanted to make a comment what one of our residents got out of the weaving, that she had fallen and broke her back. And I talked her into, I spent a lot of time helping her get started with the weaving, but it took the pain away. She would sit and weave, and she did so many of the strips, and it helped her tremendously to get her mind off of her pain. It was just really a godsend. That was.
Thank you, Maggie. You know, we had another resident who was actually, I'll never forget, I don't know if you remember this, Maggie, with the very first meeting of our pilot group, she was in the care center here at Carlsbad by the Sea, and she was in the bed, and she was totally loopy. And here she was, and she was all tangled. And I mean, she ended up doing a number of the weavings, and it was, I think, also really helpful for her healing. But you just reminded me of that. So that's just a great story. Did we have more comments or
We
questions?
do. We have a couple of other ones. Let's see. Jen asked, Julie, what inspired you to bring this project to Front Porch?
Well, actually, thank you, Jen. Originally last summer, after we were closed, we were only closed for like 7 weeks. When we reopened, I put together a pop-up show. I wanted something that would be really uplifting for the people who were able to be out and about to come see. And we did a show that was with 4 different groups of 4 different organizations that do art with adults with developmental disabilities. And in that show, we had 2 beautiful, about 10-inch wide, long weavings that were just so awesome. And I wanted to buy one, but they got sold. And anyway, at that time, I thought, ooh, collaborative weaving with residents would really be awesome. And then several months later, when I was working on getting ready for the fiber art show that we would be doing, I reached out and asked that artist group if they had any artists that'd be interested in doing some events for our residents via Zoom. And Brisha was one of the people who said yes. So She did one event for the Kitchen Table Art Project group, and then she said she'd love to talk about her women's woven voices for the artist speaker series. And immediately my ears just perked up, and that's when I said, well, can we meet and talk, because I want to do weaving. And it just really was just like one of those meant to be kinds of things that happened. And yeah, it's just been amazing. It's just been such a heart thing, such a great thing.
We have a question from Laura. She's asking, how long does it take to make a cloth?
You want a kit, Laura? We could do that. We're still sending some out. What do you guys think? How long does it take?
Mine took 3 days.
No. Oh my gosh.
Not solid days.
No. Just like
Yeah.
probably, I don't know, maybe a total. I worked on it maybe for 4 hours or something.
Yeah, I would say about, yeah, in that range. It's a little bit awkward when you're first getting started. You're like, what did I get myself into? I've had a few people who literally are like, I don't think I could finish this. And then they ended up doing it. Any other questions, or anybody want to talk any more about what their weaving experience was? Oh, Maggie.
We had one of our residents who couldn't sleep at night. And so she would listen to Bible stories. And so it's be about 3 hours, and she finished one every night.
Lee, she did a bunch.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. Okay, I think, thank you everyone for being here. I know, Carmen, you have a parting word.
Sure.
And,
Yeah. So we are going to be, so starting in the new year, we're going to be moving Strength of Community to a quarterly event. And we've been doing this for a little bit over a year now. Is that right? Over a year, like a year and a half. It's been since COVID, basically.
the blur.
And we wanted to check in with you, our residents, about what you would like to see from Strength of Community. What topics are you interested in? What should we explore next? So I'm going to send out a brief survey after this call, and we would love to get your feedback. Tell us if you like this format, if you have suggestions to improve it, if you have other ideas for other topics that we could explore.
Sounds good. A special thank you to our 3 resident guests, Maggie, Martha, and Iris. Thank you, heartfelt thank you. Happy holidays, everybody. And we look forward to seeing everyone in the new year.
Okay.
Mwah.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you.
Merry
Thank you.
Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank
Happy
Happy New
holidays,
Year.
everyone.